rolling. So we are in Capernaum. In Hebrew, we pronounce it a little different. Kafarnaum, Nahum, the village of Nahum. And you can see that they honor themselves with calling themselves Capernaum, the town of Jesus. Okay, here it says here, the town of Jesus, and there's the town of Jesus. So why would they choose that title for Capernaum, the town of Jesus? The answer is because after the rejection from Nazareth, Jesus relocates to the Sea of Galilee and chooses this village as his home base for the next, I would say, 2 to 3 years. And during those 2 to 3 years, Boker Tov. Good morning, sister. I'm David. I'm the guide. We have one guest.
Just one.
Just one.
Okay.
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 You're also from the Beatitudes?
No.
You're here.
You're
here. Okay. Thank you. We can tour?
Yes. You
Thank you. So Jesus chooses this village to be his home base. Why does he choose this village? Many reasons. I think the most important reason out of all of them is because he has friends here. Who are his friends? Four gentlemen, 2 sets of brothers, Peter and his brother Andrew, and James and John, the sons of Zebedee. These 4 men are all fishermen on the lake. They're residents of this town or this area, because actually originally they're from Bethsaida, but they also probably moved to the bigger village of the town. And we have clues in the New Testament that there was an earlier acquaintance between Jesus and one of these 4 men. Out of all the 4 is actually Andrew, Peter's brother. So I think in John's Gospel, I'm not sure where, you can read that Andrew was a disciple of John the Baptist. Okay, so I mean, I'm just connecting the dots. John the Baptist is a relative of Jesus, and John the Baptist baptizes Jesus, and John the Baptist has authority because he's the son of the priest in Jerusalem, and Andrew is one of his followers, and therefore it is possible that John the Baptist said to him, "This is my cousin Jesus," and they knew each other, and there was an acquaintance, and then when Jesus is kicked out of Nazareth, as we saw yesterday, rejected by his own people in his own village, Jesus needs to find somewhere else where he can feel safe. And I think the reason that he came down here is because he has friends. And these friends, they're strong people. I mean, think of it, 4 fishermen. What does it mean? It means they have a boat. They have food. I think they had muscle. I think they were tough guys. And I think that they were eager for some spirituality. And Jesus has just the contrary. He has full of spirituality, but I think he had very little confidence with just being safe outside of Nazareth. And I think by coming here, it was a perfect match. The 4 men, they find what they need, and Jesus, he also finds what he requires, and this becomes the pocket, like in football. The quarterback has a few people surrounding him, and they start touring the land, and they start walking around as a small group, and Jesus starts performing miracles. And the miracles gain him popularity, and more people come to see Jesus and to be healed by his powers. He has power of healing spiritual, like the demons, exorcism, but he also has power of healing physical, like Peter's mother-in-law, or the person, the assistant of the centurion whose hand went dry, or the paralytic who needed to be taken into the house through the roof, and so on and so forth. So that's the background of Capernaum. What do we have here? We have 2 very interesting venues, and we're going to visit them both. The first is the synagogue. The synagogue is very late. It is 4th or 5th century, the White Synagogue of Capernaum. But as you can see, it is sitting on an older synagogue from the basalt rock. You can see there's a difference. The modern synagogue, the 5th century synagogue, is ashlar stones cut and carved. But the basalt synagogue is older. It's also, we call these field stones. Okay, so I cannot tell you that this synagogue was from the time of Jesus, but it's possible that that one was. Okay, so we can go inside, take a closer look at the synagogue. This is a image of the synagogue complete. But underneath, you can see the blue and the green. These would be the foundation. Okay, and here even says like the blue sign is the black stone remains of a synagogue predating the monumental synagogue. They're not confident enough to say first century, but older. Okay, so we can walk into the synagogue. 3 monumental gates, 1, 2, 3. Each of them decorated with a stone carved mantle with palm trees and like an amphora fruit on the top. This one is hard to see, but this one is a little more clear. We can see palm trees on the side, the top flower design. We walk in, and surprise, instead of a synagogue, what do we see? We see kind of a Roman basilica. You need to know that there is a big conversation on what exactly the structure was. A synagogue, yes, probably, possibly, because it has a rectangular shape. The benches are facing inside, and all the images on the decorations around it are very Jewish. Fruit, flowers, amphora, and so on. But the building itself looks very Roman. So there is a dilemma. There's also a problem with the orientation. We walked in and we're facing north. Jerusalem is south, the orientation is reverse. Okay, there is an inscription in Greek. This is the original inscription, thanking one of the donors from the ancient past for donating money to build the synagogue. This inscription is modern. It is for the Franciscan priest Orfali. See the second line, middle word, Orfali? Orfali was one of the Franciscan brothers who was excavating Capernaum. So maybe we stand in the shade a minute because we need to mention a few things that happened in the synagogue. Maybe the most famous thing is the healing of the person who was possessed with demons. This happens on the Sabbath in the synagogue of Capernaum. It is mentioned clearly in the New Testament that this healing took place in the synagogue. Jesus and his disciples, they go to the synagogue on Sabbath morning, and there is a person possessed with demons, and Jesus, with an act of exorcism, releases the man from his demons and has even a conversation with the demon. The demon says, I know you, you're the son of God. The demon recognizes Jesus as the Son of God. Isn't that interesting? So that is happens in the synagogue. The other interesting thing that happened here is about the bread of life, the story with the bread of life. That's in John's Gospel. So we know that the synagogue is active on the Shabbat, and we know that Jesus came here, and we know that while he was here, he performed miracles. And then he also takes care of Peter's mother-in-law. She's ill and maybe has a fever, and they come to her, and Jesus touches her, and she feels better. Then they say to her, okay, we're feeling better now. Can we eat? Then it says, from the synagogue, they went to the house. And look how easy that is. From the synagogue, you walk to the house. Where's the house? So here's what happened with the house. When they were excavating Capernaum, most homes look like this. A rectangular building with a division between the two rooms, sometimes stairs to a second floor, very simple rocks and stones, and maybe a little street connecting the two, and over there the same. Okay, so most of the homes of Capernaum appear in this design. And when the excavations suddenly revealed a house, we'll walk around this direction, that looked different than all the other homes of Capernaum. Why different? It was renovated and then renovated again, and then in the Christian or the Byzantine period, a church was built on that house. Okay, so now this lights a light bulb in the minds of the archaeologists. They say, why would one house of Capernaum look so different than all the others? This must be Peter's house where Jesus lived and therefore was adored as the holy house. And here we have maybe you show the poster first, okay, the layout, because it's difficult to understand, okay? So we have the original layout of the house, which is the blue, okay? It looked like every other house. And then it was renovated, it was turned into a larger house, and then a church was built on top of it, octagonal shape. Okay, and here we can see all the layers one on top of the other. Ignore the modern church for a minute, just look at the archaeology. So let's try and trace the footsteps of the early Christians. They know that Jesus lives in this house for a couple of years. And then they say, okay, we need to make sure this house remains as a holy place. Why don't we turn it into a church for our services maybe once a week? We'll gather in this house and we'll turn it into a church. This is the phase that we call it the Domus Ecclesia, a house church. It's a house for a few days of the week and a church for maybe Sunday. Okay, that's the earliest phase. Think of the early Christians. It has to be done secretly. Christianity is still officially illegal. You have to do it quietly. So they gather once a week and they do services in the house church. Then Christianity becomes a little more available, more legal. Now they can take the whole house and turn it into a church or a chapel. But then when Christianity becomes like the official religion of the Catholic world, of the Roman world, they can build a church on top. That's what we have here. We have those three phases, one on top of the other. And then came the Franciscans and built the spaceship. On top here, causing the spaceship. On top of the archaeology, they left a glass floor, so when you're inside the church, you can see the ruins. We are not the first pilgrims to see the church, the house of Peter. 2 pilgrims were shown this house of Peter thousands of years ago. First one is Egeria. There's her name. See, Egeria, 381 to 384. That's the quote. I was taken to the village of Capernaum and we were shown the house of Peter. Okay, 341. And what we're doing now, millions and millions of pilgrims have been doing since 341. It's amazing, right? And then there's another pilgrim who's here. He's called the traveler from Vicenza. And he was here in the year 570, same thing. We were taken to Capernaum and we were shown the house of Peter. So we have 2 moments of evidence of ancient pilgrims who were brought to here and saw exactly the same thing. In the church, I won't speak. Katarina, you will walk around, take some videos, show them the glass floor, how you can connect the ancient house from the modern church. But here also, there are windows around so you can see the view. And